Hey, me Matter. This is Killer Kyle, and this is a bonus episode. We just did 2 episodes of Wheels of Fury. Best Raw moments, seeing as how it's the 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw.
Right.
And, well, as we were doing them, I didn't think of other moments, but
Yeah.
editing the video, I actually thought of some more, so I'm not sure if you have any more, but I know a few we could talk about.
So this is kind of like a honorable mentions,
Yeah,
if you will.
so, and yeah. So the first one I thought about, there was a feud that happened in 2001. Actually, it probably started in 2000. But you have the first ever female wrestler main event, which you had Trish Stratus versus Lita.
Lita.
What a feud that was.
Yeah, the first ever women's match to main event of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the beginning of where we are now. It took longer to get to where, okay, we'll have, a women's match main event to WrestleMania, or, other women's matches main event a Raw, or, a women's match, let's say main event another pay-per-view of some kind, and then, of course, it's coming off of Royal Rumble last night, women's Royal Rumble matches, women's Money in the Bank, women's, women's Elimination Chamber. Yeah, just things for the women have become more a big deal.
Right.
The ball was starting to roll a little bit with 2001 and this match with Trish and Lita. And yeah, Trish and Lita had a hell of a rivalry for the early part of the 2000s.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to think, like, they have several matches against each other, and then it culminated in 2007?
Yes, because that's,
With
yeah.
Trish's last match. She decided she was going to retire. Have her last match, of course, against Lita for the Women's Championship. And, yeah.
Yeah, this match was, I can't remember exactly where it was, but they really took each other to the limit, of course.
Oh, they always did.
Oh, yeah. But in this case, Trish broke her nose due to Lita. And, yeah, there was a point in the match, and there was blood all over the ring anyways, but
Yeah.
I think Lita went to do a moonsault, and it was just the way she landed.
No, it wasn't a moonsault, it was a suicide dive.
Oh, it was a suicide, okay.
Yeah, Lita went for a suicide dive to the outside on Trish, and the landing was just fucking ugly.
Like, she had neck issues to begin with,
Yeah.
so I was like, holy shit, that was fucking terrifying,
Yeah.
for one thing. But also, like, she seemed fine. Like, she finished the match.
Yeah.
I mean, Trish still won,
Mhm.
but yeah, that was one moment that stands out in that match.
Yeah.
But I think it was before you had in a main event Rock Trish versus. I don't think it was Lita. I think it could have been Triple H and Stephanie. I can't remember.
Probably, yeah. I
Oh,
remember watching. Yeah, it was Lita on an episode of the Broken Skull Sessions.
Right.
And she had talked about that match with her and Trish, main eventing Monday Night Raw. And she was like, she had talked about that moment, and she was like, yeah, I dove through the ropes and made it through alright. And Trish started to go down too soon, like fall too soon, and of course I'm chasing her, basically, and just when they landed, Lita like pretty much folded in half backwards almost, and it was like, yeah, that was a rough landing.
Yeah. I mean, one false move and she would have been out for a year.
Oh yeah, like she ended up being okay, but like it could have been real serious. Like could have friggin' got a concussion, could have broke her neck, could have gotten a serious injury of some kind.
Yeah. Like one quick story, like it has nothing to do with Rob, but she was waiting to see the doctor. And she's like, I want to get up, I need to go to the bathroom. And the doctor's like, no, we're going to get you a neck pan. Because if you move and you sneeze, you might get paralyzed for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. This was after the accident on the set of
Dark Angel.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not just in the ring. It could be anything, you know, acting.
Yeah.
Just as simple as that. But that match paved the way for the women in the future. You wouldn't see Charlotte and Sasha.
Yeah.
Or Charlotte and Bailey. Or Bailey and Sasha. So on and so forth. I think Trish and Lita paved the way for those women to main event Raw or later on SmackDown.
Yeah. That's kind of a terrifying thought, though. You know, you need to go pee, and the doctor's like, well, we'll get you a bedpan, because, you know, you move the wrong way, you sneeze, you'll fucking be paralyzed. Like,
yeah.
That's a scary fucking thought.
Yeah.
Man. One moment that, actually not really a moment, it's more of a storyline that I think should be mentioned is what has been considered it's been considered the like greatest storyline of all time, and just the whole thing throughout the years has just been absolutely fantastic. And it's one of those storylines where you go, man, one of the reasons why I fell in love with wrestling. I date back to late 97? Early 97? No, it was later in 97, but the whole storyline and feud and everything for years to come with Kane and The Undertaker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they have had a lot of very interesting feuds and storylines on Raw, you know. The biggest one would be Undertaker finally accepting the challenge of Kane.
Yeah.
For months, he would not wrestle Kane. He's not going to wrestle his brother. And finally, you get to that breaking point where it's like, you know what? I gotta fucking nut up or shut up.
Yeah.
So they had a few, well, I mean, through the years, they've had a lot of really good matches. And I mean, yeah, it's one thing that's going to stay in the history books forever. You know, and watching Table for Three, you know, whether it's Kane and Bret Hart and Jerry Lawler, they talk about Undertaker.
Yeah.
You've got Undertaker with the Bone Street Crew talking about Kane as well.
Yeah.
You've got documentaries about that stuff. Yeah. And it's like, that's how special this feud is. It was.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, like, even having both Kane and The Undertaker sit down together and talk about their first meeting with each other was before the introduction of Kane.
Yeah.
And when Glenn Jacobs was still working with Smoky Mountain Wrestling at the time as Unabomb, and of course Undertaker went there and they had a hell of a match in that night. This was in 95? Yeah.
Yes, yes,
95.
it was, yeah.
And then it was basically Undertaker put in a word to, might have been Bruce Pritchard or Vince or something like that.
Right.
And they brought in Glenn Jacobs, and of course at first they, did the whole Isaac Yankum DDS.
Yeah.
Then he was a fake Diesel, and he was also, what was the other one?
Oh, Isaac Yankum, fake Diesel. Oh, the Christmas tree?
No, that was fucking way before.
Right, okay.
That was in Memphis.
Right.
Yeah, the Christmas tree creature, that was many years. That was pre-WWE. Right, and there was another one
Yeah, there was
anyways.
another one.
And then they wanted to do the storyline of, Undertaker having a brother, and, there was this fire at the funeral home, that whole thing. And Undertaker basically said like, hey, we've got Glenn. He's, not really going very far. And what he's doing right now, he's a good wrestler. He's talented. I think he could fit in this role, and it'll be a success. And so they brought him in, and went over things with him. And I remember him talking about how he had to learn to do the sit-up.
Oh, yeah, they have footage of that, too.
Tried to teach him how to sit up because he didn't know how to do it, and they had no idea how to do it. And yeah, who would have thought that storyline of, Undertaker's got a younger brother, there's a fire at the funeral home, Paul Bearer was blaming Undertaker for it, and it was actually Kane that did, that whole storyline.
Yeah.
And it would just go for like 20 years.
Mm.
And just be one of the, like, a lot of people say that that's like the greatest storyline ever as far as WWE is concerned.
Yeah. So one moment, I just thought of this now, talking about Kane. Talk about 2003, when he finally unmasks. And people are like, well, there's nothing wrong with him. But obviously, and Cody Rhodes talked about this too, when he did the whole undashing gimmick.
Right.
It's not necessarily the scars on the outside, it's always the scars on the inside.
Yeah, it may not be the physical scars so much as the emotional scars.
But as soon as he had masked, just the shit that he did.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Setting JR on fire. I mean, fuck, Jim Ross has been through a lot of shit in WWE.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, what comes to mind...
Frying Shane's nuts with the car battery.
It's like we share the same brain. Yeah, that was fucked up.
That was so... Oh, yeah. And see, this was still... It was towards... During the end of the Attitude Era, but yeah, like... Fuck, set JR on fire... Hook up a set of jumper cables to a car battery, and then the Shane's nuts. He's handcuffed to the ring post, and a lot of other shit he did, or they had him do at that point in time.
Like, you have that, but you also have the tombstone to Linda.
Yeah.
The fact that she allowed him to do that.
Oh, I know.
Fucking, it's a testament to how strong she is. Or was, at least.
Well, I'm sure, like, they went over everything, and, like, I'm sure she knew, like, he wasn't gonna hurt her.
Yeah.
And see, that's the one thing that, I know we've talked about it before, but it's worth bringing up again. You hear about how, the pile driver is banned, although it's still kind of being used in wrestling. But like in WWE, they really just did away with the pile driver, and yet you had Undertaker use the tombstone for many years, and Kane would also adapt the tombstone, and you never heard of anybody getting seriously injured from the tombstone. That's just basically how safe the move was. Like,
Yeah.
we're just basically dropping down to your knees and, the person's head is coming nowhere near the canvas. Whereas with, like, a regular pile driver, like one fuck up and, could seriously injure somebody. Hence Owen and Austin.
Yeah. It's not ballet, folks.
Nope.
So there's one other moment on Raw, and I don't like either of these guys, but like one guy I can give two shits about. The other guy is really fucking talented in the ring, very charismatic.
Right.
You have Hulk Hogan come back in 2005, and he had a feud with Randy Orton. He had his match at SummerSlam. Might have been a year after that, I can't remember. But Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan have basically teamed up a few Raws.
Right, yeah.
And had a few good matches. And there was this one match, I can't remember who they took on.
Yeah.
And it just came the fuck out of nowhere. They're posing, and you just see Hogan, he's doing this shit right here. And he turns around, sweet chin music.
Yeah.
And you have the stare down of Shawn Michaels looking at Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And there's the heel, Shawn Michaels, is born.
Yeah. And I mean, that whole storyline was pretty good.
Yeah.
A lot of people criticized that match they had at SummerSlam that year, only because Michael's Michael's overselling. But that was Michael's. He would sell, kind of dramatically, if you will.
Yeah, I heard a few things, I won't get into it, but... So, like we talked about DX, when they got back together, they're older, they're less immature, so they want to do things still dirty, but I don't know how to explain it.
It was like I was saying Friday when we were doing the video. They still wanted to do things over the top.
Yeah.
But not as over the top as they were doing back in 97, 98.
And I will admit, obviously Shawn Michaels is funny.
Oh yeah.
He does the whole Hulk Hogan thing with the stretcher, or the walker.
Yeah. The whole Larry King
Brother.
Larry King live parody and fucking kicking the Larry King impersonator. It's like, okay then.
There's a segment where he comes out to the ring looking like a preacher, in my opinion, and just talking and just cutting down the fans there in Montreal.
Right.
So, talking about Bret Hart and how he screwed Bret in 1997. And then, of course, the Hitman music hits. And, Shawn sells it perfectly. And then, obviously it's overs.
Yeah.
So Shawn basically plays to the crowd and then talks about how he's going to beat Hogan at SummerSlam.
Right.
And then, of course, the match at SummerSlam happened. I rather much prefer the build-up to that match rather than the match itself.
Yeah.
But, yeah, things happened, and Shawn was like, no, I'm going to oversell the fuck out of this match.
Yeah.
So...
I don't know why he decided to do that, but,
Yeah, Shawn will be Shawn.
I mean, yeah, Sean would sell, and he would sell, like, holy fuck, that looked like it really hurt, but, like, he was just, like, extra that night, if you will.
Hell yeah.
Like, yeah, anyway. I was saying previously, like there's so many raw moments that's happened over the last 30 years. Like, we've talked about a lot of good ones, and, you know, there's still a lot that we haven't covered. And there is only so much we could cover in, you know, an allotted amount of time. But, yeah.
So, I just thought about doing this bonus episode for this show. I know that when we did SmackDown, we may have done honorable mentions, I'm not sure.
Yeah, might have, yeah.
That was all messed up anyway, so
Yeah.
yeah. And honestly, those were the only things that came to my mind.
Yeah.
But just want to say, happy 30th anniversary to Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
I can't fucking believe it.
I know.
I mean, making 20 was hard. Like, you know, it's not easy making a weekly show.
No.
Let alone, like, wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
And I know there's that complaint where wrestlers don't have off seasons.
No.
But sometimes, you know, you take a break, you don't have as many matches.
Yeah.
And that's why I honestly think the brand split is better, because
Right.
then again, you have some wrestlers that don't wrestle on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Vice versa for Monday Night Raw. But,
Yeah.
you know, here's to you. And many more, 30 years more.
There's the 30 years and 30 plus years more. That's true.
Let's throw of you. So, next week, Wheels of Fury is NXT Vengeance Day.
Yeah. Yep.
So, for me, Matt, this is Killer Kyle. We will talk to you then. Deuces.
See ya.